Hello and welcome back to the Wasteland, everybody. Welcome back to Fallout 3, where today I'm going to be showing you all the locations of all of the unique small guns in Fallout 3 and how to exactly get them. I'm also going to be giving them a ranking from 1 to 5 as to how difficult they actually are to find. And the very first one that we've got is Wild Bill's 32. Now this one can be found in the Pit DLC, and this one I would say is like a 2 out of 5 in terms of difficulty to get. It's not really that hard. If you go to the pit, you're more than likely going to find this, since this can be found in the steel yard. All you have to do is go out there, and once you get to like the upper levels, which you're likely going to be going there to explore to get more ingots anyway, unless you're just dead set on like running the main quest and only getting like the first 10 ingots. But if you are exploring as you go up these stairs, then you can find Wild Bill's body right here. If you search it, then you get his 32. And the 32 is actually kind of decent. The 32 generally isn't that great of a weapon in Fallout, but it's really just this and the hunting rifle that can actually use the 32 round. And this one does have the highest rate of fire out of the 32 guns. That's not really saying a whole lot, and this doesn't do as much damage as like a hunting rifle or the unique hunting rifle. But for the Pit DLC, it's actually not too bad. It's probably the only 32 weapon you're going to be finding. Plus, I just really like the look of this one. So Wild Bill's sidearm, not too difficult to get. Up next, we've got Colonel Autumn's 10mm pistol. This one you're technically not supposed to be able to get, but you can on both PC and console. The way you got to do this, though, is at Project Purity, when the Enclave are actually there, and your dad locks the facility and then causes the explosion inside of it. When everybody gets knocked down inside of there, you can interact with both your dad's body and Colonel Autumn's body. So in order to do this, you have to go into third person, push your face up against the glass or somewhere near it, and then spin your camera around. You can then usually reach through the wall and pickpocket somebody's body. This will allow you to search both their bodies so you can get your dad's jumpsuit as well as Colonel Autumn's 10mm pistol. For an overall rating, I would say this one's probably like a 4 out of 5 to get. You do have to get about halfway through the main quest, as well as you also have to be aware that you can even do this, and you can do this in quite a few areas. This is actually really good for the reverse pickpocketing and to getting to things that you shouldn't be able to get to, at least not as easily. And Colonel Autumn's 10mm pistol is actually pretty decent. The 10mm in general in Fallout 3 is really good. This one just has higher stats, so that's nice. Other than that, it looks the same, and it pretty much functions the same. Our next pistol is the Zhaorong pistol. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly at all. This is the Chinese pistol. This one is pretty cool. You can find this one down south in the LOB building. For an overall rating for this, I would say this one's like a 4 out of 5 to get to, because it is kind of obscure. And it might seem like you need like high lockpicking. You actually don't for this one though. You just need to find a key card inside the building. So make your way through the building, fight anything that's inside of the building. There's usually a couple different enemies inside of it. You can find this gun behind a very hard locked door that you're going to need 100 lockpicking for, or if you get the CEO's key, which you can find in a briefcase, then you can open this up and then you can find this pistol. And this pistol is kind of unique in that it actually does fire damage. So you would think this would probably be pretty good with like Pyromaniac. But weirdly enough, this doesn't count as a fire weapon since it's like fire on the bullets, I guess, or it's just coded incorrectly to where it can't benefit from that perk. I'm sure mods could fix this. So it does a little bit more damage than a Chinese pistol, which is not really saying all that much. Sadly, the Chinese pistol is pretty garbo in Fallout 3. It doesn't do that much damage, that much DPS. This one does have an above average crit modifier at 2 times, so that is kind of a bonus. And the Chinese pistols do have a decent amount of HP, as well as the fire over time is kind of nice on this. And now we got all the 44s. Next up, we've got the Black Hawk. Black Hawk I'd probably give like a 5 out of 5 in terms of difficulty to get, because you do have to go out of your way to get this one. So you can get this one from the quest Agatha's Song. You have to go and talk to Agatha first, and then she will request you to go and get a violin for her. You do then have to go to the north part of the map, get into the vault there, fight your way through the Mirelurks inside there, and then you can actually get this violin. Once you do that, you have to take that back to her, but then she'll also request a sheet of music. You can grab this also in that same vault. You can also get a sheet of music inside a couple other places too, like just outside of the starting town, just outside of Vault 101, there's a school there. That one also has a piece of sheet music. Go through these buildings until you find that piece of sheet music, then go to her, and then you have to request this as a reward. If you don't, then she won't give you it as a reward and you'll just get good karma. So request that, and then she will give you her husband's revolver. The Black Hawk is pretty cool. This is just stronger than a regular 44 Magnum, so it does do good damage, holds 6 shots, still has the scope on there, which is nice. It's one of the few weapons you can actually ADS with, and it has good item HP too. A very cool weapon, but kind of a weapon you have to go out of your way to get. And speaking of weapons you gotta go out of your way to get, up next we have Callahan's Magnum. This one is a direct reference to the Dirty Harry movies. This one can be found in Broken Steel, and this one I would say is a 5 out of 5 in terms of difficulty to get. Not because it is actually like super difficult, but you have to go through the entire game in order to get it. So you have to do the entire main quest, and you also have to do the entire main quest of Broken Steel that takes place after the base game's main quest. Then, at the very end of that quest, you have to choose to nuke the Brotherhood. And then where their building was, you do have to go find a safe, you open up this safe, and then you can get Callahan's Magnum. This one does do more damage than even the Blackhawk per shot, which is nice. It's basically just a more upgraded version of that gun. I don't know if it's entirely worth getting though, since you have to go so far out of your way to get, and I wouldn't even consider the Callahan's Magnum the best 44. That would go to the next one, which is Paulson's Revolver. And this one I would probably say is like a 3 out of 5 in terms to get. This one's not that bad. This one can be found in Mothership Zeta, the DLC with the aliens, so you do have to go there, and you have to at least get to the part where there is Paulson. Now you can reverse pickpocket him and get this. You could also have him die and then take this off of him too. That's an option. Or you could potentially shoot this out of his hand and then pick it up before he can actually grab it. So those are all options to grab Paulson's Revolver. Usually I would do like the reverse pickpocketing one if you want to keep Paulson alive. If you don't really care about that, then you could always just kill him, take it off of him that way, because this is like the best handgun in the game. This one actually does only slightly more damage per shot than the regular 44. This one does not have a scope, but this one does count as a shotgun weapon. I've talked about shotgun weapons before in Fallout 3, and they're pretty crazy because every single pellet from them can hit a crit. So when you do start hitting crits with this, it's kind of insane, as well as this one does have a 2x crit modifier. Now we move on to the unique rifles. First up, we have the Infiltrator. This one can also be found in the Pit DLC. There is only a couple of these. This technically isn't a one-off weapon, as there's even a more unique version of this that we're going to be talking about. This one I'd say is probably a 3 out of 5 to get. This one's not too bad because you can get it, especially if you side with the slaves. This can be found from the slavers that are right outside of the pit when you first get there. So, at least the actual pit itself. Once you actually get to the pit, you'll kill all the raiders there with Warner, and then you can travel through the bridge, and then when you get all of your stuff taken away in the pit, those guys out in front actually have the infiltrators. So you can kill them, get about 3 of them. This one does actually do less damage than the standard assault rifle that it's based off of, but it does have a scope and it does have a suppressor, as well as it has better accuracy. So there is kind of a reason to be going for this. It's still not as good as like the next one, which next up we have the Perforator. This is the unique infiltrator. This one does even more damage, but has an even slower rate of fire. It does have bonus crit chance on it though too, which is kind of nice. For the Perforator, I would say this one's definitely a 5 out of 5 in terms of difficulty to get, because in order to get this one, you're going to have to collect 90 steel ingots from the steel yard. This is almost all of them. Once you do get 100 ingots, then you get both this, and then you can also get the tribal power armor, which is pretty good, but you're going to have to be spending a lot of time in the steel yard if you don't know where these steel ingots are. There is quite a few of them that are hidden, some of them in very difficult to find spots, so this one can take you quite a while. I'll probably be doing a video sometime in the future just like getting all of the ingots anyway, at least showing how to get all of them. But yeah, you're going to need a lot of these, and then you trade it in for the Perforator. Very cool weapon though, probably one of my favorite weapons in the game. Next up we have the unique Chinese assault rifle, the Zulong assault rifle. Again, I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly or not. This one I would also say is a 5 out of 5 in terms of difficulty to get, because you do really have to go out of your way to get this one. So you can get this one at the Museum of Technology, and you do have to pass a test first, where if you screw it up, then you get locked out of this gun. And this gun doesn't show up until you've actually completed the test anyway. In order to do this, you're going to have to find 3 separate computers, and you're going to have to answer them correctly. They have a series of numbers. I remember this just in a pattern that it goes in, so on computer number 1, it's the second answer, on computer number 2, it's the third answer, and on computer number 3, it's the fourth answer. You can just go through it like that. You can also just do it the way that it's supposed to, which is just based off of the prime numbers. So pick whichever the prime numbers are on the computers. Then that'll unlock a message as well as the safe up in the Museum of Technology. And then this will give you the location of the Zulong assault rifle. So in order to get this one, you're going to have to go back pretty much to Vault 101 unless you've explored elsewhere. And then you're going to have to head west of there. There will be a train station out there. And then inside of the diner, there will be a dead body that actually has the Zulong assault rifle on them. You can still find this location beforehand if you would like, but the body and the rifle will not appear there until you've completed this. So again, you have to go out of your way to do it, but this one is another fantastic weapon. It does do good damage per second. It holds 36 rounds rather than 24 like the other assault rifles. So that is very nice. It's pretty much got the best DPS out of any of the assault rifles. Up next, we've got Old Painless. This is the unique hunting rifle, and this one is probably one of my favorites to rush because the hunting rifle is actually pretty decent for most of the game. So Old Painless you can find up at the Republic of Dave, which is in the far upper right-hand corner of the map. You have to go all the way up there. It does take you a decent amount of time if you would like to rush this. Once you get up there, then this can be found inside Dave's safe. For an overall rating, I'd say this one's like a 3 out of 5. It's actually not too bad. You just need to steal the key off of Dave. Now, the building that you're in can be kind of difficult to do that, as sometimes there can be multiple people in it, so it's best to save here, and if you have a stealth boy, that's going to make it easier. And then just keep trying until you steal his key off of him, then you can open up his safe and take Old Painless. And Old Painless is pretty decent. It does extra damage from a regular hunting rifle, it has a faster rate of fire, shoots the 32 round, it's probably the best gun to be using the 32 round with, which is one of the more common rounds, and it's very easy to find hunting rifles to fix this thing up with, especially in the early and mid game, because pretty much all the super mutants are going to have this if they're not rocking melee weapons. Next gun is the Backwater Rifle. This one is pretty cool. This one I would say is like a 4 out of 5 in terms of difficulty to get. This is a unique lever action that can be found in Point Lookout. Now, in order to do this, you're going to have to do the Chinese spy quest, and you're going to have to go all the way through it, which is why I would give this one a little bit of a higher rating. However, that is probably one of my favorite quests in all of Fallout. So in order to do this, you just have to go to the motel nearby in Point Lookout, like right when you get there. It's just on the outside of town. You go there, you can search through all the rooms, and in one of the rooms, then you get a message talking about a Chinese spy, and that you have to complete their mission. In order to do this, you're going to have to go pretty much all throughout Point Lookout, finding different things like going over to the bank and getting like voice recordings that you can play into the speaker so that you can unlock certain things. This will give you more locations, so you have to go up to like the concentration camp that was up north, break into there, find like a tooth that gives you more stuff, find some glasses so that you can actually see hidden cryptic messages pretty much around where like sort of the main quest takes place. Go there, and then once you've completed all this, it'll unlock the underground bunker there where the Chinese spies were hanging out. And then you find out it's a double cross, but the Backwater Rifle can be found just on a shelf in there. Very cool gun, really high damage, maxed out crit chance, besides like the Alien Blaster. This one has a 5 times crit modifier, so that's pretty crazy. Uses the 10mm round, so it's one of the most common, if not the most common round in the game. And next up we have Lincoln's Repeater. Lincoln's Repeater I would probably give like a 2 out of 5. It's not really that difficult to get Lincoln's Repeater, and plenty of people know where this is. You can find this at the Museum of History. So you just go there, you go into the back section of the Museum of History, and you gotta fight your way through the ghouls. This isn't that bad, especially if you do this kind of early on, because the worst ghoul that can show up there is like a glowing one. I'm pretty sure you're guaranteed to get a glowing one near Lincoln's Repeater itself, but everything else is going to be probably normal ghouls or roamers. They're not going to be that difficult. If you go here later, then you might get Reavers, and that's going to be a lot scarier. You can pick up some other Lincoln memorabilia there too, like the Action Abe figure, his hat, which is actually pretty decent. You can get like the coin collection and like the gramophone as well. And then in a display case, you can get Lincoln's Repeater. Lincoln's Repeater is a lot of people's favorite rifle in Fallout 3, which is understandable. It is a very strong gun. It does do good damage per shot, has a bonus crit modifier. It's very accurate, uses the 44 round, holds 15 rounds in it, which is really great, and it can be fixed up with just regular old hunting rifles, meaning that it's a very strong weapon so long as you've got ammo for it, because hunting rifles are super common throughout Fallout 3. Alright, moving on to the sniper rifles. We got 2 of these, where we have the Reservist Rifle. This one I'd probably say is like a 2 out of 5 in order to get. This one's not too bad either, since you just have to go to the location of it. You can find this up towards the north part of Fallout 3, kind of towards Oasis, and this is kind of held by one of the people that were from Oasis. You kill him, then you also get the note talking about Oasis, so you can go there and do that quest if you would like to. But he'll attack you on sight with this rifle. If you kill him, his body might get kind of stuck up in the top part of the church, but you can potentially blow it to pieces, especially if you have bloody mess. It's not very difficult to kind of chunk him then search his body, and then you can take this rifle. This rifle's pretty decent. It does do good damage, and really good damage per second. It actually has a faster rate of fire than a standard sniper rifle, but it does only hold 3 bullets, so you're going to have to be reloading this one pretty often, so it's not necessarily one of my favorites just for that reason. And then we got the Victory Rifle. Victory Rifle, I would say, is probably like a 4 out of 5 in order to get. There is an easier way to get this, and you can actually rush this one if you would like to. So you can find the Victory Rifle in the Sniper Shack, which is overlooking the Rockbreaker's last gas. So you are going to have to go up here. There's usually super mutants up around here, but those aren't too difficult to deal with. And then you can find this inside of a locker. This locker has a very hard lock on it, meaning that you're going to need to have 100 lock picking. So you're probably not going to be able to grab this right away, unless you decide to go and get Dogmeat first, because Dogmeat can actually access this gun, since if you bring Dogmeat there and you just tell him to go look for a gun, he'll grab the gun right out of the safe and give it to you, which is pretty cool. So you can get this one pretty early on, and this one is kind of unique. This one makes it so on crit, it knocks down enemies, which is also a little bit strange, since the knockdown on crit sometimes makes it so the damage rolls a little bit low with the rifles. It's kind of the same thing with the Gauss rifle. It's just kind of like this awkward thing with these weapons. There's also the fact that all of the sniper weapons don't have like bullet drop, they have like bullet rise in this game, which is really weird. So if you're shooting at range, maybe aim a little bit lower than what you would think, because the bullet's likely going to do kind of this motion after enemies. Then we move on to the shotguns. There are 2 unique shotguns. The very first one is the Terrible Shotgun. This one is a unique combat shotgun. For an overall rating, I would say this was probably like a 3 out of 5. Find this one at the Evergreen Mills, and this one is carried by Smiling Jack. This is a raider merchant that you can kill and then just take, which I pretty much always do because the Terrible Shotgun is really good. You do have to fight your way through this though. There's going to be a lot of raiders. This is one of the few locations where there's a super mutant behemoth here too. There is also the barter bobblehead here too, which is nice. Can be found in the same area where you can actually find the Terrible Shotgun. So just make your way through the actual mill, fight your way through the raiders, and then down into the underground areas where you can actually kill Smiling Jack, take the shotgun, and this shotgun is one of the best weapons in the entire game. It does really high damage. It does really good damage per second. The crits are absolutely insane from this thing. The only kind of downside is this one has more spread than like a regular combat shotgun, but if you're only using this at close range, that's not necessarily a downside. The next shotgun is called the Kneecapper. This one you can find down in Girder Shade. This is towards the very bottom of the map. You can also do the Nuka-Cola challenge quest down here for Sierra. You can find this one on a guy named Ronald. Now there's a couple ways you can actually get this. The first way would just be to reverse pickpocket him, take away his ammo, take the gun off of him, and then you can keep it that way. You can actually get a second one though too, or I guess a different way to get the same one if you're playing as a female character and you have the Black Widow perk. So if you do this, then you can convince Ronald to go down to the Nuka-Cola plant. He'll perish there, and then you just go there and loot this off of his body. So that's another bonus too if you would like to go about it that way. The Kneecapper is sadly not all that great though. The sawed-off shotgun is pretty much the only shotgun in Fallout 3 that cannot hit crits. It just has 0 crit damage, and it has a 0 times crit modifier, so even if you sneak crit with this, it doesn't do crits. And that's pretty bad because that's kind of the main advantage that the shotguns really have in Fallout 3. So this is definitely the most fair of the shotguns. But why would you want to take a fair shotgun when you have all the unfair options too? And then our very last gun, at least for the small guns, is Sydney's 10mm Ultra SMG. Sydney has this gun. She's a mercenary that you can run into when you're looking for the Declaration of Independence. That's probably going to be the easiest way to find her, unless you're just exploring around DC. But you can start the Stealing Independence quest down in Rivet City if you talk to the historian there. He'll then tell you to go and find the Declaration, as well as a couple other documents that you can find there too. You can run into Sydney, and then you have to fight your way through the super mutants with her. If you get down to the bottom, then both you guys can steal this, and then both you guys kind of split the reward on stealing Independence. Now she won't give you the submachine gun from this. If she ends up dying during this quest though, then you can loot her body and take this off of her. That is one way that you can do this. You could also reverse pickpocket her and take it that way. The other way you can do this is finding a note that's called A Note from Little Moonbeam's Father. This one you can find at the Statesman Hotel, which you can't actually just go to the Statesman Hotel right away. You can't actually go in there. But you will notice that there is a connection between that and the hospital right across the street from it, where there has been part of the building that's fallen down into it. You have to go through the hospital, go through that passage between the things, and then find the room of this. Once you find that room, then you'll find the message here, and you take this to Sydney. Then she will give you the 10mm SMG. This does mean that you have to go quite a bit out of your way. The easiest way to do this is like do the Riley's Rangers quest, which you can at least get a hint at if you go to Underworld. That's usually the way that I do this. Then go and do that, then you can go and do Sydney's part, then you can give her the message, then she'll give you the 10mm submachine gun. And her submachine gun is pretty good. It does do more damage than a standard submachine gun, as well as it holds 50 rounds rather than holding 30 rounds like the standard 10mm. So actually pretty decent, and since 10mm is so common, this one is probably one of the better weapons to be spraying at enemies with. Tell me your favorite small gun in Fallout 3. I'd love to hear it. Thank you guys so very much for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.